Welcome. We're so glad to have you all here today on a beautiful day to help us celebrate the 84th graduation ceremony for Midland for the class of 2017. And we're going to begin today with the Midland Chorus. Go ahead.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today, 'cause I knew you.
Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the world. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you. I have been changed for good.
It may well be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me.
You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind of the sea, like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better?
Because I knew you.
Because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you've blamed me for.
But then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore.
Like a comet, like a ship blown from its mooring, by a wind off the stream that meets the sea, shot by a bird in the wood. Who can say
If I've been changed for the better?
I do believe I have been changed for the better. And because I knew you,
Because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
So our guest speaker today, Gloria Murillo, many claims to fame, including parent to Yessi, Esteban, Isabel, and current senior Angelica. And she also is the one who feeds us here at Midland. So I'm very happy to introduce Gloria.
Good graduates, parents, faculty, and guests. It's an honor to speak to you today. I have a confession to all the students who stop by the kitchen for encouragement when they try to have a big presentation. Now I know how you feel. Today is special. It represents years of hard work for the 20 students sitting in front of me. It is special for the parents who wants the best for the children. It's special for the teachers who help them to master a subject, and more important, to love learning. For me, Midland is a dream come true. My greatest wish as a parent is to provide a good education for my children. I want the best tools possible to succeed in the world. At times, with 5 children, this looks like an impossible dream. My first job in America was working in the fields, picking grapes. I worked side by side with my father. He taught me, never stop working. Just keep working. He also taught me to make sure my children get an education so they will have a better opportunities in life. I would like to share my journey with you and turn a mother's dream into reality. I was just 17, and I had not lived in California for long. My large family of aunts, uncles, and cousins, we live in San Ynez. On weekends, we got together for baseball and barbecues. On weekends, we learn an important news. My cousin, Jose Juan Ibarra, was going to Midland School. This was an exciting news for our family. No one had attended a private school before. I did remember visiting a private school as a child. Jose Juan's mother took me on a trip when I was 8 years old. We went to Guadalajara. It was my first trip ever, away from my small town in Mexico. We visited 2 aunts who were cooks in the private school. I remember peeking to the kitchen window and to the dining room where the boys and girls were eating. What a wonderful job to cook for all those students. I want to do this when I grow up. Thanksgiving is my first Midland memory, just like today. People were invited for Thanksgiving. Midland was much more rustic in 1983. Buildings were run down. Our beautiful landscaping today was just dirt. The students were as rusty looking as the buildings. I thought, no way I will send my children here. But each time I came to visit, the charm of Midland touched me. Main house porch was friendly and inviting. The chapel was special. The stone root cell behind the dining room reminded me of Mexico. Jose Juan's graduation made our family proud. I understood how special it was. He was heading to college. Sonia Ibarra, my brother's daughter, enrolled in Midland. My brother spoke with passion about sending her to Midland. His dream to become a doctor was impossible. Education will help her to fulfill her dreams. Sonia graduated in 1999. Still, it was scary for me to think of sending my daughter to Midland. My oldest daughter decided to attend public school. In 1998, my nephew Sergio came to Midland. He graduated in 2002. Today, he is finishing his PhD in sports medicine. Listening to Sergio's stories made me realize Midland will be a wonderful fit for my second daughter. Jessie loves outdoors, sports, and horses. The rustic cabins and dirt path will not bother her at all. We signed our first Midland enrollment contract in 2000. This was big financial commitment for a family. It will be 5 years before we will have a family vacation again. We were proud to do this for our daughter. Parents, we ask not to visit students until after the first school break. I want to honor the rules, but Jessie was only 13 when she started at Midland. Her birthday came before the first break. My family didn't have the means to celebrate birthdays. First, I want to give my children a good education. And second, I was determined that they always have a cake on their birthday. I scrambled my courage and called her advisor. And I explained how important it was for me to bring her a birthday cake. He said, "No problem. Thank you, Mr. Cummings. But bring enough for 120 people." The cake had to feed all Midland. I was happy to bake for everyone. I intend to drop the cake and run. But we were invited to eat with the students and enjoy our daughter's birthday cake with her and her new friends. I knew Midland was a great gift when Jessie returned home. For the first time as a school break, she thanked me for sending her to a place where she can finally belong. For the first time in my life, she did not feel she had a big M on her forehead. Working in dish house, cleaning tables, cleaning bathrooms and pink pallets, and working side by side on Sunday work crew create a level playing fields for all the students. No one is better than anyone else. In 2006, Operation Purple ran a summer camp at Midland. And Midland welcomed a new head school. This marked a turning point in my life, for which I will be forever grateful. Jessie was a counselor at this horse camp for kids with parents serving in the military in Iraq. My husband Mike and I, we were hired to cater the final barbecue dinner at the end of camp. Will Graham, new head of school, had just arrived at Midland. He came to the barbecue. After dinner, he invited me to join the Midland staff as a breakfast cook. He wanted to be sure that students had a healthy start every day. Cooking for students is my dream job. It makes me happy to have people enjoy the food I prepare. Every ounce of love I have, it goes into my cooking. After a few years early, for 2 years, I attend nutrition classes at Samson Clinic in Santa Barbara. I learned healthy cooking for diabetics. Cooking was already a pleasure, but it became a passion. 3 children followed Jessie's path at Midland. Jessie graduated in 2004. Esteban graduated in 2011. Isabel in 2015. And Angelica will receive her diploma today. All of them love sports at Midland. We were inspired by favorite teachers, and they still tell stories about camping trips to Ben and Lori Manger's house in the Sierras. Esteban came alive on the lacrosse and soccer field. Isabel's quinceañera mass was held in a Stillman porch one summer, followed by dancing in the pole barn. A single Midland moment for Isabel and Angelica was in a street party while on vacation in Mexico. Young men built a bonfire at night in the streets. There was so much smoke, it was ruining the party. Isa and Angie took over. They pulled up the logs of the fire. They started all over. and they create the perfect fire. All students to learn how to build a fire. This proud moment was thanks to Midland shower fire training. Equally proud moment came later for my children in college. Unlikely classmates, they do not need to text during classes. Thanks again to a simple life lesson from Midland. My other Midland children have learned lessons too. I appreciate all of you. And I want to thank my kitchen helpers and graveyard zombies, my kitchen orphans, Mark, love you, Mark, and Robert. Remember Robert? People eat with their eyes. Drama queen and greatest kitchen teacher, Nev. And 3 new seniors who took on the challenge to be a true Midlanders from day one. Sage, who cleans everything to a high polish. Ayan, who mastered keeping dish house decibel under control. Danny, who mastered mopping by carefully repeating the short 10 times to get it right. Coffee Club in Stillman is a brief pause after breakfast. Colleagues drop in briefly to touch base before heading to their offices. Sierra announced one morning the enrollment contracts were in the mail. My stomach clenched. I did not get a contract. Then I remember, for 16 years, I have signed Midland enrollment contracts. My last child is graduating. A few days later, Jesse asked us if I would still cook at Midland, since my children have graduated. Of course, I will still be at Midland. I have my other 85 children to cook for. Graduates, thank you for being a memorable part in my Midland journey. It is time for you to begin your new journey. You have what you need to success, whether you plan something simple or something grand for your life after Midland. Know that your parents, teachers have confidence in you. I have confidence in you. We have shared the journey. It's time to share your Midland wisdom with the world. Be curious. Be kind, be happy, and be grateful.
And next, it's my pleasure to introduce the junior class speaker, Adrian Howard.
While not everyone here today has climbed Grass Mountain, everyone sitting on this stage has. And trust me, it's hard. There's a reason there's a school-wide Grass Mountain Day, and this group of graduates is a perfect example of why. The success of a Grass Mountain Day depends on the diversity of the leaders' skills. Together, you have made it up the mountain, and together, you have helped the rest of us students get up the mountain with you. This togetherness comes from a brilliant combination of all of your individual characters. To show you all how these individuals make a great team of leaders to hike up the mountain with, I have to tell you what I've seen each of them bring on the hike. Annalise brings this incredible wisdom, which I'm still not sure anyone else totally understands. Up the hill, she keeps herself going by giving herself encouragements, which help her be a great leader for all of us. Duncan, while some call him sulky, brings a powerful, pensive leadership. He gives great, realistic pep talks and possesses the ability to recognize others' strengths and where they need help. Mark brings bursts of energy that can be motivating and totally spontaneous. In ceramics, it was a daily occurrence to hear him yelling with excitement about a perfectly trimmed plate, or to hear him yelling about a root beer glaze getting on his perfectly white vase. Neff brings an unapologetic mixture of goofiness and love up the mountain. She cares for her friends, but not too much for what other people think of her. Matthias is always ready with an anecdote or joke that not only makes everyone laugh, but makes people feel included. Sage is always ready for a great dance party, even without any music. She doesn't simply dance, though. She convinces everyone around to join her, or at least she tries her hardest to. Skylar is the one at the front of the group, cutting all of the bushes out of the way so that no one else can get scratched. He is the energetic trailblazer, who's also ready with his machete. Olivia brings a self-certainty up the hill that is incredibly contagious. Being around her, the other students have to believe not only that they can get up the hill, but that they can be fabulous at the same time. Derby brings his vast knowledge and experience of the mountain and everything outdoor related. As the captain of outdoor leadership, he has inspired many students to enjoy camping and climbing the mountain. Lana literally brings a rainbow tutu up the hill. She always has a bright energy and the skill to get the most reluctant hikers to the top. She brings color to the trail, which can, at times, seem hopeless. Tate is an active, positive person. He is in the group of people that runs up the mountain before most students even get to the base. Once he's at the top, he goes down a little bit with Oreos and offers them to people along with a reassurance that the top is near. Robert, on the last Grass Mountain day, gave a few teachers military rations to bring up as lunches. He is the one who will diligently cook and clean without requesting thanks. Having been on his dish house crew, I know he is always prepared and eager to get work done well. Clarissa encourages us to find new ways to view the twists and turns in the trail. She helps wherever she can and puts the group needs before her own. Not only does she cover dish house jobs, she goes into the kitchen early and gets half of the job done before the rest of us get there. Grace finds a new way to make the hardest chores seem like a new adventure. She almost never stops smiling and has an unfailing passion for everything she does. Danny brings the most concentrated, fearless, and engaging form of energy I have ever witnessed. My first interaction with him was a conversation all in Spanish that lasted hours in the library. Julia brings the most enthusiastic hugs I have ever received. She follows her heart and encourages those around her to do the same. Angie can bring two things up the mountain. Sometimes she is the ultra-supportive friend, and sometimes she is the decisive leader that knows what is best for the younger students. Aeon is the one who will rap all the way up the mountain, or even beatbox if someone else wants to rap. He is creative, spontaneous, and gives those around him a similar energy. Jamie is the leader that is not only really excited to be climbing a mountain, but who already climbed the mountain the same week to check out if the trail was safe. She is a fearless outdoor leader and a great asset to Grass Mountain Days. Giorgio brings an intriguing aura. From those who know him best, I have heard that he is the most loyal friend they could possibly hope for. When you climb Grass Mountain, you experience the good, the bad, and the ugly. On the way up, blisters are a common occurrence, and at least one person is obliged to fall into a spiky yucca plant. You are never going to lose the ability to work with all these types of characters or the memories you have gained on and off the mountain. For the families, friends, and loved ones here today, feel free to tell your graduate what else you have seen them bring up the figurative or literal mountain.
And next we have a bit more music with Nefertari Arbuckle Walls singing and Jenny Zhang on the piano.
It started out as a feeling, which then grew into a hope, which then turned into a quiet thought, which then turned into a quiet word. And then that word grew louder and louder till it was a battle cry.
all you can do is try to know who your friends are as you head off to the war. Pick a star on the dark horizon and follow the light. You'll come back when it's over. No need to say goodbye. You'll come back when it's over. No need to say goodbye. Now we're back to the beginning. It's just a feeling and no one knows yet. But just because they can't feel it too doesn't mean that you have to forget. Let your memories grow stronger and stronger till they're before your eyes. You'll come back when they call you. No need to say goodbye. You'll come back when they call you. No need to say goodbye.
Keep coming. Now we have our senior class speakers, Mark and Neff.
I don't want to use that. Let's just stand next to it.
All right. So hot, but
Hi, I'm back.
that was more important. So, should we start?
Go ahead.
Hi, Mark.
Neff.
Okay. Why did this fat, rich Chinese boy come to Midland? Were his parents trying to punish him? Did he just rob a bank and need a place to hide in the middle of nowhere? Because this place does not fit him at all. Most of you guys probably thought this before. Nope, the first reason I come to Midland is because the K school denied me. My English skills were too high for them. I had an outstanding TOEFL score of 44 points of 120 points. For reference, most of Chinese students here got over 90 points. Basically, during the interview, I used past tense, future tense, and present tense in one sentence. So Midland adopted me anyway, so thank you, Amy Graham. The second reason I came to America for high school is that I wanted to escape from the high-pressure Chinese education. Although I did escape from the hell of Chinese education, I managed to come to another completely different kind of hell. Although my parents thought Midland is a heaven, right, Dad? See, he's right there. Because when we toured the school and he first saw the sign that said, "Welcome Mark Gone and his family," he chose to believe this is the best school in the world. So with thousands of complaints and millions of tears, I say goodbye to my phone. No, phones. Right, Phil? And I came to Midland.
When I was in middle school, Nevada education sucked, and still does. It was ranked at the bottom of the list for high school graduation rates and was ranked 51st out of 51 in chances to succeed. I was a short dyslexic who opted to stay home from school any day I could. I didn't turn in many of my assignments, mostly because I didn't feel like it. Yet my grades were still considerably above average, which isn't saying much because at the time the average grades for an 8th grade student was a C-. My only C immediately went back up to a B when my English teacher heard I had gotten into boarding school. She knew that in order to get out of Gardnerville, Nevada, my grades had to stay pretty. I did plenty of extracurriculars and I read avidly. Last but not least, and this is the kicker, math was my best subject. I was in 9th grade math in 8th grade, and I had the second highest standardized test score in the class. I remember asking Phil before the night hike my freshman year if we would be learning trigonometry, because it was one of my favorite subjects. Oh, how people change. So why did I leave this little haven of good grades and amazing math abilities? Honestly, I was bored. My 5th grade teacher taught me there was more than just textbook education, and I wanted out of the public school system of bullies and teachers who had lost hope. So I Googled West Coast co-ed boarding schools without uniforms. I found Midland, applied with enormous help from my mother, and prayed to every god that I knew of I would get in.
This off school brought us so many surprises, though. If I had NAF outside of Midland, all that would happen would be some weird eye contact as we pass on the street. Midland is magic. It puts many types of students together, and it forces us to be friends.
That is the beauty of Midland. It forced Mark, who would otherwise have no connection to me at all, to be my friend. And even through the horrible things Mark has done to me, like stealing my gluten-free cookies, sacrificing me to the rattlesnakes, and just now pouring water down my dress, it has been a pretty awesome friendship. One of Mark and I's biggest differences is our financial status. This has led to a game I enjoy quite a bit. Let's see how many years of my tuition Mark's outfit will pay. We usually play this game using crappy British accents.
Hey, Arbako, how are you doing today?
Lovely, lovely, dear. Don't you just love embarrassing yourself in front of hundreds of people?
Yes, I'm freaking nervous right now. I think I just peed a little.
Oh no, your $900 pants!
That's enough.
Not only was I forced to be friends with Mark by being in this small community, I was forced to be friends with literally everybody. Because if you're not friends with someone, things get really awkward when you're eventually forced to do some activity with them. This is actually really cool because I would never, not even once, talk to Tate if we went to public school together, and yet here we are probably best friends. I actually would have never imagined I would become friends with most of the people in my class. Derby and I will probably be briefly married in the future as our lives just keep randomly lining up that way. Whenever I find a meme that is utter cringe, I know I can send it to Skyfresh and he'll appreciate it. I'm pretty sure I've accidentally dated and been engaged to Matthias several times. And even after college, I know I will see Sage again, as Minnesota is my destiny. These little things, inside jokes, and odd personality traits have allowed us all to stay friends through these years.
I actually never planned it to be friends with any of you guys before. I just want to be aloof and cool. At the beginning of junior year, I tried not to talk to any new students. I tried to be cool. As you can ask many Chinese students, they thought I'm Korean for the first 2 weeks. But after 1 week of acting invisible, I failed. I started to talk to people and make friends. It's impossible for me not to make friends at Midland because it's such a small community. I would watch these interesting people every day and become harder and harder not to be friends with them. I love using British accents with this woman's name next to me. I love twerking in Linda's office with Matthias, Lana, Aeon, and Annalise, right? I love to go to Reds with my son, Sayer. You know, like that. Where I always fall asleep and get sunburned. I love getting therapy from Adam about my love life until midnight and telling him I will never get in crush on anyone again. I love having an ask party after 10 o'clock too with my friend, once my senior. People in Midland here are pretty interesting.
Very interesting. So outside of my Midland family is my legitimate family. Mom, I have no words that will express my thanks to you and what you have done for me, but I will try. These people sitting around you, my Midland friends, probably know all of your darkest secrets. And their only comment is, "Oh my God, I love your mom." Now I bet you're wondering, oh geez, what have you told them this time? I told them all these horrible things, Like how for 18 years, you've given everything that you possibly could to me and Temujin to give us the amazing lives we have. I'm so happy you finally found Karen, because to have somebody to lean on when things get hard is something you've been without for so long. And even better than that, she makes you happy. You're the reason I'm up here now, and that is one of the greatest gifts you've ever given me.
In my memory, my dad is the toughest person in the world. No matter how big a problem he faced, he would never give up. This is pretty awkward. I never said this to him before. He's smiling again. I never see my dad cry until the day he dropped me off at Midland. That day I saw him secretly crying. My dad has given me everything I want, and he never forced me to do anything I didn't want to do, except once he told me, no matter what, you're going to Midland. I know this decision is really hard for him, but he believed that Midland would change me into a better person. After my parents sent me to Midland, my credit card became my only family member around me. Using the credit card was the only way I would talk to my family. The amount I spent represents how much I miss them. So Mom, as you can see, I miss you so much on freshman year. My dad and I used to fight a lot, and somehow every fight turned into the fight about Midland. I would say, Dad, you destroyed me by sending me to Midland. But Midland didn't destroy me. Dad was right. I hate to say this, but I think Midland actually made me become a better person. So today I want to say thank you to my mom and dad, that decision you guys made 4 years ago, and learned so much from this top environment. And surprisingly, I liked it here.
I never went through that. I was never upset at my mom for sending me here, because she didn't send me here. I chose to come here, and I have never once regretted the decision. I love Midland, and have never truly wanted to leave this place. This does not mean it has not been hard. Adjusting to the academics was more than difficult, and I even failed a class sophomore year. But it's okay, because I got to spend an extra year torturing Phil. I also had to get accustomed to a new family. I am more than used to getting to change and getting moved around. But I was always with my mom and brother. Here, it was just me. It is a bit strange having the most important people in your world living 10 hours away. This is how I felt. A bit strange. I never felt homesick, and I never felt happy to be away from them. I always just felt a bit strange. And this is for all you parents in the crowd. If your child does not call you as much as you'd like, it is not because they hate you or don't love you. It is because on the night they planned to call, their friends were having an epic dance party, and they knew you would understand. Or the morning they were going to call, all the phones were being used by people talking to their baes who don't go to Midland. And when you do get a call from an 805 number, there's always the chance it's Janet to tell you your kid's in the hospital again. Or maybe that's just you, Mom. Either way, your kid loves you dearly, but Midland is a distracting place. They will get around to it. An email or two helps, though.
The next part I'm going to tell you might be a little bit depressing, not like that funny. But I want to share these experiences, because after I experienced all this depression, I finally realized I'm grown up. The first moment I arrived at Midland, I knew this 4 year wouldn't be easy for me. I was trying to give my most positive side to people and show them my life is full of happiness. But nobody would know I will quietly cry alone in my room many nights and try not to let other people hear me. Quick question. Have you ever watching the person who you love be with somebody else and you still have to act as nothing is wrong? And I have to tell you, that feels like death. Probably no one will believe that kind of talk is coming from Mark Gone. Yes, even Mark Gone struggles. But every time my class gather up together after 10 o'clock and celebrate each other's birthday to make inappropriate jokes and trash talk about our school lives, or sing as loud as possible in our room, I will feel better. All these little moments supported me and make me laugh through all the hard times. So all my friends at Midland, I want to say thank you. Because of you guys, brought hope into my life again. Also, the person who brought tears, struggles, and pain into my life, I want to say thank you too. Because of you, I became stronger, and I learned that I cannot get anything I asked for. This is high school. All the high school students have loved, suffered, cried, laughed, lost, struggled, and complained about their weird 4 years. But especially in Midland, this kind of small community, Many people are like me, questioning themselves, what's the meaning of life? Now I can tell you the meaning of life is be yourself, achieve your dreams, never let yourself down or let other people put you down. Always stay strong and be proud, because they're the most important thing in your whole life.
Along those same lines as to four-year seniors, we will give you some extra tips for life.
Bring your calculator to Phil's class.
Don't take the gluten-free food. They have so little in life.
Be nice to Yazzie and Gloria, because they are the two nicest person at Midland, and they will feed you well.
Go to the bathroom before your job starts. It's not a difficult thing to do.
Like me, learn from the mistakes you make. I drove off campus at midnight and have over 80 laps per year. But I can still be senior class president and represent my class and offer a speech to you today. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. But this most important thing is to learn from the mistakes.
A crush is a stupid, horrible thing that changes your whole brain chemistry and makes you fall head over heels for some stupid random person. I can tell you this, not only because I spent the entire semester researching the topic and writing 10 pages on it, but because I, too, have had a crush on somebody. Many people, actually. My advice to you, tell your crush your feelings. Now, I know this is not always easy, because I've never once done it. I also sat across from my crush almost every night this year and didn't say a thing, and I 100% regret it. If there is a moment where you're like, I should just tell them right now, then do it. Because I had those feelings almost every day and I ignored it because I thought my feelings would get hurt. But in the end, my feelings were hurt anyways, so just do it.
Love is beautiful. Go pursue love. But don't let love take your brain away, because love will lead you to do so many stupid things. And dude, you'll regret it.
As I'm sure you're all getting antsy to get packed into your air-conditioned cars, we will end the speech with a quote from the song chorus sing at Paralumni Weekend.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, say goodbye. I'm glad to go, I cannot tell a lie. Goodbye.
Our final piece of music today will be by Olivia, senior, and she'll be singing and playing the guitar.
Okay, so just before I start, I just want to dedicate this song to my entire class. I love you guys a lot, and I'm gonna miss you. Years from now, who knows where I'll be? Maybe Italy or even Tennessee. I hope that I love where I'll be, but it's a small town in California's where I found the real me. There's a place that I call home. It's filled with dirt and love to live on. We can do the smell of mountain air, wood burning stoves and horses everywhere. Figaro, mountain road, I dare you to take me home to country air and living good. Whether it's a rain or shine, it doesn't really matter. I will find my way back home when I follow Figaro Mountain Road. Figaro Mountain Road. The skies in the evening turn to a pretty blue. All of us screaming our favorite songs in the bathroom. There's no No better place to live, no better place to thrive. Counting all the shooting stars that you see in one night. Figaro Mountain Road, I dare you to take me home to country air and living good. Whether it's rain or shine, it doesn't really matter. I will find my way back home. When I follow Figaro Mountain Road, Figaro Mountain Road. Now I'm leaving and I will miss you. Thank you for the best years of my life. You have turned me from a girl to a woman. I have you and God to thank. I hope someday I will come back home to Figaro Mountain Road. I dare you to take me home to country air and living good. 'Cause whether it's rain or shine, it doesn't really matter. I will find my way back home. When I follow Figaro Mountain Road.
Thank you, Olivia. Now we have our senior prefects, or school prefects, Annalise and Duncan.
First, I would like to say that I am indebted to this land and its inhabitants for much what I have learned over the past 4 years. I'd like to thank my friends, classmates, teachers, staff members, prefects, job heads, advisors, coaches, parents, friends' parents, alumni, and of course, the class of 2017 for being one tremendous community and support network. All of my classmates have matured immensely and experienced a lot in our time at Midland. We have helped and supported each other, especially through the challenges of living here. Our class in particular has witnessed several big changes in our time here, including a headmaster shift our senior year from Will Graham to Christopher Barnes. Last year, we had discussed how becoming senior leaders, as well as working with a new headmaster, would probably be a challenge. Stepping into new territory as job heads, prefects, and role models is tricky in its own way, and the transition added extra levels of challenge to the shift. But Mr. Graham told us that it was our class's job to lead the school into next year's transition. And what has stuck with me for the past year is Mr. Graham said that he believed in our class specifically to do our job and bring Midland into its next era. And he truly did believe in us, and we believed in ourselves. Now, a year later, I still believe that he was undeniably correct. We stepped into where we have needed to be naturally, and throughout this year, have led and mentored the student body phenomenally, not just as prefects and job heads, but as friends. And with kindness and trust. Each one of us is so uniquely and wholly ourselves. We are so diverse in interests, opinions, and personality, yet we work so well as a collective and have each brought our own strengths and character to the school. Even the 3 students who entered just this year integrated almost seamlessly into our class, and I could list several ways in which each one of them has been a leader or a role model in this community. So we stepped into these roles naturally, as I said, but that's not to be confused with easy, because, as I'm sure we're all aware, living here is not easy. We have faltered, hesitated, accidentally missed our jobs, forgotten a project was due, made a bad call, etc. And yet, here we are, and on the whole, we have excelled, pioneered an incredible year, and we've all got plans to march on to the next great adventure. Just look at this year's Midland Mirror. Because when it comes down to it, Midland is a single stretch on our journey to learn, to lead, to care, and to make our contribution to communities around the world. I'd like to quote some Paul Squibb now to make my point. In one of Squibb's short books of poetry and reflections from this hillock, he admits, "Secretly, I feel that after 82 years of varied activities and reading and study and conversation and meditation, I have a broader than average view of the plane on which I was born and raised. I claim no mountaintop revelation, but rather a stumbling, fumbling, trial and error progress up a hill of more than average height." Despite some striking differences, my thoughts about this time in our lives is similar. Well, I mean, we're 18 rather than 82, and we know hardly anything at all. But we have learned quite a bit of what we do know and believe atop this hillock that is Midland. And as we head into our summer plans and off to college, I hope that each of us will be able to synthesize and reflect on our high school experience and think about our success. We've learned to love what we have, to follow the natural bends in the trail, to never cut corners, and the gratification of running the full mile. And we are all adaptable. Although Mr. Squibb might humbly describe high school and graduation as just a modest slope, Midland has been one heck of a climb, and sitting in these seats, we are right where we want to be.
So I was on a run this morning, and on the way back, I heard a rustle in the chaparral to my side. And my first thought was like, oh, crap, rattlesnake. And my second thought was, well, I wouldn't have to give this speech then, would I? Yeah, it was a ground squirrel. How to encompass the day. This is a day we leave, a day we change, a day we close doors. It is a day we leave friends, a day we detach from mentors, a day we promise from the bottom of our hearts that somewhere, somehow, we will meet again. For me, it is the last day I stand on this porch in authority, and the last chance I have to officially prefect my prefectees. And it is the first and last time I will ever speak at my own graduation. We often hold on to the belief that every time we close a door, a new one opens for us to find and explore. In this way, we imagine a world of perpetual opportunity and of perpetual movement, always searching and finding and exploring and closing and searching and finding and on and on and on, until we run out of doors to open. In many ways, I have grown to resent this form of thinking, this constant process forcing us to accelerate our lives inside the times we live. Have we not been taught better than this? We've been taught to give pause inside the chapel, to give thanks to those who help us, to say grace before we eat, and most importantly, to give love to those who make us food. And still the inevitability of senioritis and a forever accelerating year's end forces this day to rush towards us and by us faster than we can react to it. This speech will be my attempt to pause, a short grace before the main course of graduation. Afterwards, my class will be sent through the same door as the 83 classes before us, rustic and worn, symbolizing the close of our Midland experience. The door has seen hundreds of shower fires, hundreds of students, and hundreds of bright, ambitious futures. And I'm sure, seen as it's a fixture of Midland, the door is hanging on tearing hinges with scarred, aged wood supporting a tired handle. And still it stands, but I imagine it does so unhappily, as all those hundreds of students focus beyond it to those new opportunities and ambitions. It does seem fitting that we look into the future on graduation. We have completed the largest task thus far in our lives, and what comes next is overwhelmingly present on our minds. But I also feel it is equally important to look backwards, to appreciate the fact that this end is the end of something, and that we have very little time left to appreciate it fully. So I'm going to use it. I want to take the time to share some memory, some form of pause, before I leave this place as a student forever. There's so much we do here that doesn't happen anywhere else. I want to take time to appreciate the door we are passing through before I am drawn to the doors opening before me. Firstly, fire, right? I can't imagine a place where fire is more worshipped by high school students. Midland students have an appreciation for warmth, especially for warm water, that I have yet to find anywhere else. I anticipate that I will need to take this with me as I venture to the East Coast next year, where the winters will be colder and darker. I truly appreciate fire and its ability to bring groups together, whether it's for an 8 a.m. class, a camping hangout, or to team build a shower fire. Fire, above all things, is what brings Midland students together. Second, craftsmanship. This one can largely be attributed to Johnny Ninos, but I think he is proud of how well his emphasis on craft has infiltrated the entire school. Not only is Midland a school where we learn how to use our hands and make things, it is also a place where we learn how to take pride in making things right. I'm using the word making in a very loose sense, as craftsmanship can apply to things as simple as making one's room clean. We take pride in our work, often when no one is around to see it. This is something I know I will miss, though I hope to find in every place I go. Third, things breaking literally all the time. This kind of goes well after discussing craftsmanship because we aren't all great craftsmen all the time. Stuff breaks around here regularly and it is largely our job to fix it. Yes, we occasionally call for a plumber or a tree processing crew, but the little things get dealt with internally. Often waiters will break Stillman windows while attempting to clean them. I know I have at least twice. That waiter or waiter head, in my case, will then have the honor of learning how to fix it. I think that's really cool and not really all that normal. Once again, it is something I imagine missing greatly next year. Fourth, nature. This, of course, exists almost everywhere, but I am bound to find some exceptional outdoor recreation next year. But beyond merely being present, Midland has taught each of its students that there is more to nature than scenery and trails. There is a vast education within the trees, the rocks, the chaparral, and the landscape that is unique to right here. I will miss knowing what the ground is made of and where it has come from and sharing the knowledge with those around me. I will miss the assumption of respect that Midland students hold over the land and the way we react to it. I will miss the persistent camping trips, the stars, and the sweeping golden hills. And I will miss, above anything, some sense that I am an integral part of it all. Fifth, and finally, for the sake of brevity, Midland is not Midland without the people that work and attend it. I will miss the eccentricity, the openness, and the comfort that Midland's community encourages. Though it has changed through the years, the Midland community that I have been a part of is truly wonderful. I will miss the conversations, the personalities, and the endless excitement that people bring to everything they do. People often tell me not to worry about meeting people next year, that I will find people like me wherever I go. But I'm not sure I want to. I am most excited by the prospect that I will find no one like me and a whole lot of people like you all. And thus concludes my pause and my reflection on the place we are leaving. Though I feel it deserves more than I can give it, my gratitude for Midland will stay with me for longer than I can imagine. But as our time here comes to an end and graduation approaches rapidly, we must transition. As we pass through this final closing door, remember that someone built it. And even though there are hundreds of doors ahead of us, none of them will be crafted quite like this one. Thank you.
Thank you both. Before I begin, a bit of housekeeping. Immediately after I speak, we'll hand out the diplomas, and then graduation will be over. In classic Midland form, we need the chairs and benches to magically return to their respective homes. Freshmen, sophomore, and juniors, please act accordingly. There will be pizza and beverages to sustain everyone after the ceremony. Students, please remember to sign out with a lap master on the main house porch before you go today, no later than 4. And to all the returning students, have a relaxing and fun summer, but don't have too much fun. And I look forward to seeing you all in August. Seniors, you'll have to bear with me just a bit longer as I prattle on. But I'm not worried because you all have demonstrated the patience and the tenacity required to earn a Midland diploma, which tells me you will endure. I want the 20 of you to make eye contact with your family and friends who are here today to celebrate your graduation from high school. Today is a milestone achieved on the basis of your hard work and a commitment to both yourself and to Midland. But it is not a journey you have made alone. Your family has stood by you, has supported you, has sent care packages, talked to you through the challenging moments on the phone, waited for you to awaken on vacation as you have slept off the grit and exhaustion we sent you home with from each break. They too have lived your education and made hard choices about needs versus wants to make your attendance here possible. I can assure you they are proud today. And I can assure you that today is most certainly a day to express your deep gratitude to them for their support. As a new head of school, I am quite literally fresh off the boat. Being a new head is a bit like drinking from a fire hose. Whether one is thirsty or not, one drinks. It's been a long and exciting year for me. I have learned a lot, including that I have a lot more to learn. I'm grateful to these seniors for gently, mostly and most of the time, breaking me in as the new head of school for Midland. This year, I have been ably guided by 3 elements. our faculty and staff, the students, and our mission. Today is about celebrating your graduation from Midland. So rather than bestow upon you a few morsels of graduation speak wisdom, I think I will speak to your contributions in helping all of us live the mission. I want to thank each of you for the simple but not easy act of living the mission to its fullest for the last few years. As per the mission, Midland is a unique college preparatory boarding school experience. You're all headed off to an impressive list of colleges and universities, so I think we can check off the college prep tick list. Given that we're the only school in the country that has yet to succumb to the allure of the modern hot water heater, that we still sit down to break bread together 5 nights a week, that our gym is missing a wall, that we have a huge garden but a small ecological footprint, I suspect we've got the unique thing covered as well. Before me here are 20 students from 4 countries, a couple of different states, a plethora of cultural, economic, and religious backgrounds. They hold diverse views, but are not divisive. Core boarding school experiences, such as having a roommate you don't like, and then coming around to liking them anyway, are part of the journey that teaches us to see the best in others. The esprit de corps of our seniors is a testament to the power of coming to see the best in one another. They honor the differences amongst themselves and know there's more diversity out in the world that they will relish encountering and learning from as they move onward from Midland. Some of the most powerful words in our mission are through, study, and work, wherein we identify a core value of authentic engagement with both our learning and well-being. I have no doubts about the work ethic of these seniors. I know it extends well beyond the skill of sitting down and doing their homework. These seniors remind us every day of a work ethic that extends to the corner of their ranch, to a fence in need of repair, to the angsty recesses of a new student's mind, nervous about making friends with only their prefect to help them find their way. And back to Stillman and Dish House, where a senior-led dish crew cranks up the tunes and gets the job done. These seniors have worked and studied hard. They've lived the mission day in and day out. In doing so, they have learned and role modeled the value of a lifetime of learning and laid their own foundation to the life well lived. On a cold morning in January, nobody can get up and walk to Stillman for you. At Midland, your laundry doesn't wash itself, and without the motivation to tend the fire, you will be cold. We have long days in January, but most are joyous and like any other day at Midland. Why? Because our students learn to rely on their own competency to look after themselves. Where do they learn this? This self-reliance is taught and role modeled by older students to younger students, most especially by our seniors. This and every year, we owe a debt to the seniors for teaching us all the merits of living the mission. I'm rather fond of a quote by the philosopher Arne Naess. Simple in means, rich in ends. Simplicity is in our mission because it inspires us to put our needs ahead of our wants. There's nothing wrong with wanting. Yet, without an understanding of the underlying needs, our wants are shallow and lacking in claim to our resources. The 20 students before me here have wrestled with unsatisfied wants. They have lived without easy access to hot water, without easy access to an endless stream of passive entertainment, without a phone glued to their persona, without a lot of other distractions. Yet these seniors are gloriously rich, rich in friendships and rich in experiences. The giddy joy of simple play is not lost on them. It is a skill they all possess. I remember the first few evenings this year when many of them could be found in Stillman, playing board and card games with new students, welcoming them to our community. Many times we laughed and learned listening to your chapels. No other high school asks the seniors to shoulder as much responsibility for our collective success each year as Midland does. This is a deep tradition, grounded and rooted not only in the mission, but in our history. The kinship these seniors feel for this place, our community, our purpose, is the lifeblood of our success. Each of you has in your own way dug deep and shouldered a portion of this awesome responsibility. To your great credit, and with our collective thanks, you've succeeded and upheld the mission of the school. Likewise, the firewood you split, the solar panels you installed, the recycling you sorted, the miles you hiked and explored, the vegetables you grew, all demonstrated your connection to our little ecosystem here at Midland. An ecosystem that includes the full diversity of this place, an ecosystem that will be diminished upon your departure. And yet, one that because of your contributions is strong enough to evolve to the next generation. So, Annalise, Sage, Neff, Matthias, Skylar, Olivia, Derby, Lona, Tate, Robert, Clarissa, Mark, Grace, Daniel, Duncan, Julia, Angie, Aeon, Jamie, and Giorgio. It is with real pride and real admiration that I thank you all on the behalf of a grateful community for a job well done. Thank you for leaving this place a bit better than you found it. Thank you for the good and great deeds in all your futures that will make us even prouder. We wish you the very best. And now, with no further ado, let's hand out some diplomas. Matias Barrera. Sage Bergeson. Skylar Burton Nigan. Olivia Gianni. Derby Derbyshire. Lona Dreyfus. Tate Ewing. Robert Fitzgerald. Clarissa Gallo. Mark Gong. Grace Kelly. Daniel Kai. You did it. Nicely done. Duncan McCarthy. Julia Moore. Angelica Murillo. Aeon Rogers. Jamie Schuyler. Annalise Silveira. Nefertari Wall Arbuckle. Giorgio Sound. I give you the class of 2017.
I hope someday I will come back home to Figaro Mountain Road. I dare you to take me home to country air and living good. 'Cause whether it's a